Hello, loves. It's Josie. Welcome to another eccentric talk. I want to talk to you about your address today. Not your full address, just the number. The number part. Okay, this is a numerology video. I want to know if any of you realize that the numerology of your address holds an energy that affects the people that live there, right? So like right now, my apartment is a number 9, and the 9 has themes of universal love, themes of like college dorm type situations, right? That's the energy that the 9 carries with it. You know, it's got this unconditional love, and then it's got this neighborly community type situation going on with it. That's the short version of the meaning. I'm going to put the link. I think Felicia Bender is the one that has the definitions for each one. But I'm going to put the link in there for you later after the video. So like currently I'm in the number 9 address, right? Now there's of course going to be a difference if you live in an apartment compared to if you live in a house, right? So what you're going to do is take the apartment address and understand that that's the environment for everybody in the apartment complex. But then you take your apartment number and understand that that is the number for your own personal dwelling, your own personal environment. So it's good to look at those two numbers when you are living in an apartment. Okay, that way you'll be fully aware of the energies that you're surrounded by and the energy that you are personally living in. I brought this up today because when I woke up to an epiphany. I was like, whoa, this is my personal story of how you can look back at your life experience and you know, if you're paying attention, right? You can look back at your life experience and realize where numerology fits in your life. So I don't know what happened within me to have me wake up and think about this. But before I moved to Florida, my address number added up to 11. And I said, well, shoot, no wonder. That's the same address that I started seeing 1111 at. That's the same address I first looked at astrology at. Like all of that happened at that address. But then wait. I said, well, shoot, if that address was an 11, what was the address right before that one? Go figure. It was 11 as well. And then at that address, that's when my body woke up spiritually before my consciousness had a clue as to what was going on. So that's when I was going through all of them really tough ascension symptoms and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me, and I was just sick and going to the doctor. Mentally, I knew nothing about ascension, spirituality, none of that. Okay? So that gives you an idea of what it's like to, you know, be in an environment with a certain numerology that has an effect on you, especially if you're sensitive, because it's not going to have the same effect on everybody that lives in that dwelling. But definitely for me, it's not a coincidence that when I was living in an 11 address, that I was experiencing things that I could not understand. 11 is the number of awakening. It is the great awakener. It is that number that activates, and it's Uranus type energy, so it's sudden change. And then Uranus is kind of an electrical energy, and I was having a lot of neurological issues during that time when I was in both places, but it started in the first 11 place, right? So I look back and I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. And it's kind of crazy because I graduated. I went from I went from my body spiritually starting to transform and going through all of the uncomfortable physicalities of the situation in my first 11 address. And then when I moved to my second 11 address, I actually came into consciousness of awakening, to where I was starting to realize that, oh, it's not just me being sick. There's more to this. You see what I mean? So that's your homework, I guess, is to think about your last, I don't care how far you want to go back, but think about the numerology from your last few addresses, okay? And think about the things that happened at those addresses to give you a clue as to how this works as far as residential numerology is concerned, okay? I'm going to give you an example to, show you how to calculate the numerology of your address. One of the numbers, because I was renting a house before I actually purchased the other 11 house. So one of the numbers was 10631. Okay? So you've got the 1, the 0, and the 6, which is 7. And then you got the 3, which is 10. And then you've got that 1, which equates to 11. Remember, in numerology, we do not reduce the master numbers. So that's how I came up with the number 11 for that address. Okay? Now, if you end up with a number 10, understand that that's going to reduce down to a 1. So the numerology will be a 1 for that address. Okay? But if you end up with 11, 22, 33, those are master numbers. They don't get reduced. Okay? But yeah, that is my quick little short story about my realization of how impactful your dwelling, your numerology to your address can be. It was quite a realization when I woke up this morning. So what I'll do is I will leave in the description box and the comments the link to the general meanings for, the numerology for your address. I think Felicia Bender is the one that does it. But other than that, yeah, that was my quick story about residential numerology. Have a beautiful day, loves, and thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I appreciate you.